Good morning, y'all. It's Brooke with Mrs. Cog Hill Farm. And while the hurricane has not disappeared from our area, it has taken a break. We have had 2.5 inches of rain in the last 24 hours, say, and our pond is showing the effects. So much so that I was headed out to feed without the camera, and I came back in because I saw something that I wanted to share with you guys. So the geese are always down at the pond, but this morning, not so much so. And that's because the other side of the pasture's open and they're over there. But do y'all see what's flying? It took off as soon as it heard the geese, because the geese are more so territorial and they keep everything that they don't think is supposed to be here at bay. Nugget and Goldie, well, they do a good job at that too, but they're more concerned with land animals than things that fly. I am going to take my phone here and see if I can't zoom in so y'all can see this egret, which is, like I said, not something that we see on the pond very often because the geese run it off. There it is. It just got something off the edge of the pond. Lots and lots of frogs in our pond. So I have a feeling that's what it's after. That's the reason it decided to take a landing here. Plus the fact that the water level's getting on up there. We had been in such a drought that our pond was taking a toll. Even though we had the well running to fill it up, when you got temperatures as high as they've been with no rain, that runoff pond is not going to stay full. It's going to evaporate, and that's what happened. And we knew that. We knew that when we built the pond, per Mr. Greg telling us. So the pond is what it is, and it'll be full when it rains and a little bit lower when there's no rain. Nugget, you need some camera time, don't you, buddy? What do you think about that egret over there? But we've got a big weekend. So it just so happens that this weekend is our Petals from the Past fall meet and greet. And y'all, it hasn't rained at one of these events since we started doing it, which I believe it's taken place for 3 years now. So, you know, if the weather's like this, it's wonderful. But we are expecting some more rain to come in, which may make for a not so wonderful time for the ones that are there to visit the nursery, to visit the YouTubers that'll be there. But hopefully the rain will hold off and it'll just be overcast. But I'm going to take y'all with me. First, I got to get everything fed, and then Jason and I are going to head over there where we're going to set up our camper, set up our tent possibly. Just don't want the wind to blow that away before tomorrow's big event. So we'll see what we decide to do with that. But Nugget and Goldie, y'all want to go with me over to Petals from the Past and get everything set up? I bet y'all could do it without me. The egret's still over there lurking around. He's walking around the edges, but I assure y'all, as soon as those geese decide to come to the pond, that egret's going to make his disappearance. And we don't have any babies, so there's no vulnerability for the egret picking off any babies. I have never personally seen an egret eat anything except for fish and frogs. Never shown any interest in any kind of animal that we had here. Although I've had comments of people that said they'll eat your baby ducks, they'll eat baby chicks, but in our experience, hadn't happened. So let's keep it that way. And just like that, the geese made their way from the big pasture area over here to down here because, well, they know that I'm about to feed them. All right, Nugget. Don't peck the camera, buddy. All right, y'all get out. Move over. And I have a feeder over here that hangs on the fence that I feed Nugget and Goldie in. However, I'm not going to do that because they don't eat as fast as the geese do. So I don't want it to rain and get that feed wet. So I'm going to feed them over at their stall where it's under cover and it'll stay dry. The geese will have that food ate in just a matter of minutes. And geese really don't have to have supplemental feed. They have a lot of grass right now, so there's no need for feed, but they depend on me, so you know, I give it to them because they love it and because it makes me happy. I mean, just look at how green the pastures are. We had gotten to a point where things were getting a little bit crunchy, but it seems like it doesn't take a minute amount of rain for the crunchy grass to turn into green, lush pasture. And we, of course, appreciate that. We don't need any crunchy grass. We need pastures that are green and available to everybody. I wanted to show y'all Snow White's enclosure. She's molting, and there are literally white feathers everywhere. It looks like a feather pillow may have exploded. I put 3 eggs over here in the back of her enclosure just to see if she would sit on them, see if she had any interest. And if she did, I was going to see if I couldn't find something more her-like kind that she could hatch and have a friend. But she's showing no interest in sitting on them. So I'm probably going to go ahead and get those out of here before something that doesn't need to find them does so. Meaning, you know, one of those things with no legs. They tend to like eggs a lot. Obviously, a little more than Snow White does. She has no interest. So since it is going to rain again, we're going to leave her in the double stall that is enclosed, so Nugget and Goldie can be on the other side out here under the shelter. So if they choose, they can be dry. But in our experience, Nugget and Goldie, they stand out in the rain more so than they seek shelter. But if they want it, it's available. And Snow White can be in here high and dry, and no worries about her either. Yesterday, we had this door closed, and that's because there was some wind coming in, some rain coming in, and Peaches took it upon herself to open it up so she could go out and do her business. And when she did, all this leftover shavings that have broken down from her stall, which you can see the black mat now in her stall because so much of it blew into the barn. Peaches, how did you let that happen, girl? I hear goats a hollering. We got to get you fed and get your door open. All right, Miss Peaches, you ready to eat? Come on over here, girl. I got you ready. Look at here. Yeah. Good stuff. All right, you gonna ride over to Petals from the Past with us today so we can get everything set up? You and your, well, I call him the weatherman because he was right by her side the night of the storm coming in, telling her all the secrets about seeking shelter and letting her know what needed to take place during the night. So Peaches and Weatherman, I don't know if y'all ought to go with us or not, but we'll figure it out. All right, got Mildred and Moody out here waiting on me. Did y'all appreciate your shelter last night? I know you did. Came a good bit of rain. Moody at this end, Mildred at this end. All right, y'all enjoy your breakfast. Sylvester, he's none too happy with the babies. He doesn't understand why they think they need mama's milk, and he doesn't. I'm sorry, buddy. I am so sorry. It was good while it lasted, though, wasn't it? I enjoyed you seeing you with your little milk stash and appreciating every ounce of Capri's milk that you got. But hey, I promise you, one day we're going to be back. We're going to be back to milking, and you're going to get the first drop that comes out, okay? All right, Peaches. Peaches is finishing up her breakfast, and I'm gonna go out here and let everybody out. Well, how did y'all rest last night? Y'all didn't get wet, that's for sure. You were in the shelter, protected. Come on, everybody out. This is what happens every morning. When I open the goat area, Honey immediately goes in. I don't know what she's doing, what she's thinking, but she immediately goes in every single morning. And Honey and Jessie, well, they have this stall that they can get out of the weather in. So it's not like they need to go in there to get out of the weather. See, Goldie and Nugget have made their way over to where I'm going to feed them. This is the outside stall that they can get under when it rains, and their feed bucket is hanging on that back corner. So everybody gets to be let out. And I'm still feeding the babies twice a day. I feel like that they need a little bit of extra. So every morning I feed them before I allow them to go in with the other goats. If I fed them with the big goats, being as small as they are, the big goats would just push them out of the way and take all their grain. So I keep them separated until they finished eating. But when I do open the gate over here, it's like a mad rush. They all think that there's a little kibble left behind. Not that they need it, but it's just goat instinct. They want to eat as much as they can, and they all go run into the baby's trough to see what they can find. And there they go. They see there's nothing left. So while Paris is eating hay, they have a whole hay bale on the other side. There's no grain left in there, so we're going to go out and forage and see what we can find. Right, Topper? Huh. The 4 Nigerian dwarfs stayed over here together while the Nubians went out the other side. And there's Miss Honey. She has made her exit. She realizes there's nothing different in the goat stall than it was in hers. Sylvester, you look like you're hunting. Since you don't have your milk, are you going to start trying to earn your keep around here and show me that you can catch something and bring it to me versus sitting there begging for milk in the morning? Nobody can see you crouched down like that. Oh my goodness. Kitty cat playtime. Y'all look at Bramble. He's licking Sylvester all over. Y'all are so sweet. I just said yesterday that I am so lucky that I have 3 kitties, Biscuit, Bramble, and Sylvester, that all get along. There's never any fussing, fighting, slapping, showing who's boss. They all get along. So the last thing on my agenda before we head over to Petals from the Past is to take care of the chickens. Jason has taken care of Mo and Joe and Loretta and Gus. So once the chickens are taken care of, everything will be done here and we can head over there hopefully before the rain comes. We don't want to be setting up in the torrential rain. And that's one of the reasons we're taking our little camper. The Volkswagen bus is not ready yet, unfortunately. So we're going to take our little canned ham camper so we can keep things dry in there, and then have a shelter from the weather, not bad weather, but if we need to seek shelter, we can go in there. All right, ladies, and get y'all some scratch. And Jason put their big feeder on the inside because we were expecting some blowing rain, and we didn't want that, even though that feeder is weatherproof, we didn't want blowing rain to get in there and ruin all their feed. So their feeder is inside the school bus or chicken bus, and that's where we're going to keep it until this system has passed. But I do need to gather eggs, and next week, first of the week, we're going to get this bus moved. They've done their job in this area. Amazing what they can do to the ground. Fertilize it, get rid of all the weeds and undergrowth that's here, and we'll get this area tarped up, and this can be used for a future garden area. Good job, ladies and gentlemen and cheese. You can tell we've had a little bit of weather because the nesting box curtains are all blown onto the top. That's the only negative to having this chicken bus is we cut these holes for ventilation. We cover them up in the winter so they won't get chilled. But when it's blowing rain, it does come inside, and the chickens don't get wet because their roost is on the opposite side. But the boxes do, their curtains do blow up, and it's just one of those things. The chickens don't seem to bother by it. You can see this girl's about to take her place. What are you gonna do, girl? Where are you going? She has molted. You can see her new feathers starting to come back in. It's just little pricklies coming in there, little feather shafts. And she's got to go right there where that other hen is. Girl, come on. I guess she's decided maybe it's not a good time to lay that egg. Maybe it is. What you gonna do? I don't want to disturb you. Make a decision. She doesn't know what to think because the curtain is open. If I go over there and go to shut that curtain, it's gonna spook her. The other negative or drawback to this nesting system is it has this bar that goes across it that allows them to get in there and lay their egg. Well, you have a few that want to use that as a perch, and therefore we have a little accumulation on the top that we scrape off every morning. But it doesn't affect the eggs. The chickens don't get any of it on their feet. There she goes. There she goes. This girl was finished. She's coming out. Oh, goodness, a little hen fight this morning. That's not the norm. I promise y'all, that's not the norm. But it is something that happens. That hen wanted in and the other one was coming out and they had a little spat. So, yeah. Let's see how many eggs we have. Oh, goodness. Y'all did good. Y'all did real good. 19, 21, 22, and a whopper. That makes 23. And my basket is just about not big enough. All right, girls, I'm going to get y'all's perch cleaned off so you can use it for a roost, which I don't want you to, but it's going to happen no matter if I want it to or not. All right, before I head out of here and get y'all's water filled up, I want to show y'all the Rhode Islands. When we move this bus to its new location, I'm going to let these girls out. They're big enough. They're fully feathered. They've been in here a couple of weeks. And it's time, goodness, Ryan, it's time for them to get adapted to the flock and be able to roam free. We'll take the door back off here and let these girls come and go as they please. So I came over to turn the water on and I discovered a problem. That's Jessie. I thought it was a donkey across the street. And here's the problem. Jason went through a lot of trouble to get this weed mat put around the entire perimeter of the greenhouse. And he used these big staples. Now you would never think that the wind at gusts of 35 miles an hour would have pulled this mat out of the ground. But all the way around the greenhouse, the staples are pulled out, laying on the ground while the mat's folded over. At least it's still in the vicinity and it didn't like fly away across the street or something. That would have been worse, but goodness gracious, I never would have thought it would have pulled this mat up. Jason hadn't seen this yet, and I'm not gonna be the one to tell him. I think I'm just gonna let him find out on his own. He's not gonna be happy, but it happened, and I'll help him fix it when he finds out that it needs to be fixed. All right, gonna get our eggs cartoned and get that farm stand back in business. This is probably the darkest egg that I get right now, which I'm completely love the color of it. But I only get one of these. So, you know, I'd like about 6 more of those layers. And come spring, we're gonna make that happen. But I don't want to do that right now with cooler temperatures coming. This one's pretty dark too, but it's a different shade of dark. It's kind of got a purple tint to it, whereas this one's more of a chocolate brown. All right, so here's the current radar situation. Looks like there's pretty widespread rain across the state. Petals from the Past is where that blue dot is right there. And Jason and I are going to try to get over there and get our camper at least put in place before some big rain comes in this afternoon. Y'all, one more thing, and I almost forgot to show y'all. The chicks in the brooder. So the well summers are, well, they're growing. Well summers are growing. So much so that Jason and I have moved them to the grow out area, which is just a taller area without a heater. They don't need heat anymore. They're fully feathered. And as a matter of fact, I could probably move them out there with the Rhode Island Reds right now, but I am not going to do that. I'm going to take one step at a time and get these babies in there as soon as possible. Let me show y'all. Check it out. I've got 5 of these girls, and boy, I mean, look how tall they are. I feel like I just got them yesterday, and they are just approaching the size of the Rhode Island Red Pullets. But they're about probably 3 weeks behind those girls. So once they reach a point, it's just like they shoot up. Kind of like kids. You know, you see a child and they look like a baby, and the next thing you know, boy, they have grown. So the barred rocks are still on the bottom where the heater is because they're not quite ready for no heat yet. They're getting close. I mean, I'm down on the temperatures in the 70s, but the temperatures drop a little bit lower at night, and I don't want to take any chances of them getting them too chilled, even though there's enough of them in here for them to stay warm if they needed to. There's no need for that. So they're still in the brooder with the heater, but it's not going to be long before these girls will take the place of the well summers when the well summers go out. So rotating cycle of chicks going on here, but I must say, I'm done for this season. This is the last of the chicks, and these girls will be laying come spring. So when spring gets here, I'm not going to say that anymore. I'm not going to say it's the last of the chicks because I'll get going again, and we'll keep this cycle revolving. I'm on my way back home from taking care of everybody, and I stopped over at the pond because the geese are here. And just like I thought, as soon as the geese arrived at the pond, the egret would take off. Let me show y'all. Geese are in the water, and nowhere to be found is the egret. Huh, how about that? Off we go. I'm a little nervous. Clouds are rolling in, campers in tow, but it is what it is. We can't control the weather, so hopefully all will go well. We'll get the camper set up, and tomorrow will be sunshine and beautiful skies. But if it isn't, there's always next year.
Yep, we're right here.
Cog Hill. Texas Garden Guys beside us.
Good.
How about that? Just like that, here we are, all set up. The camper's here, ready for you guys to come and visit us. And if you're not going to be able to make it to this event, we have one in the spring every year, which is in April, and then again next September.
Yep.
So do not fret. We will be here for you guys, and always you can catch the video that shows what's going on at these meet and greets. So this camper's going to stay here parked tonight, and in the morning we're going to be here with a tent set up. Not going to set it up today because the potential for rain is in the area. The skies are kind of blue and sunny right now, but as we know, here in Alabama, that could change at any time.
Quick.
So, yeah, it could change quick. But we're here, and we're going to be here tomorrow, rain or shine, and we look forward to a wonderful event.
Y'all be good.